The one thing about the Epstein files and whether or not they actually come out, which parts of them will continue to be leaked and everything else, is it really doesn't matter. We all kind of know. It matters, but in the grand scheme of things, for the purposes of why people are upset, we know Trump's in pretty deep. You can reference specific evidence that is been and is on record from Epstein's first trial and Maxwell's trial, and no, Biden could not have used the Maxwell stuff while he was president because she was still being prosecuted. So all of that's a bullshit narrative. But when it's all coming out in something like this, there are so many people involved, so many victims, and so many people on so many levels that know so much that no longer care about a non-disclosure agreement that they sign with Trump or Epstein or whatever, that are now not afraid about getting sued, which was the threat of the NDAs. And we know that's part of the culture because P. Diddy had him, famously for every party he had and stuff like that. But with Epstein, the amount of people that were there and him having a real close relationship with his brother Mark, who you haven't heard anything about until recently. Well, now Mark has come out and he had a interview with Steve Bannon, and was talking about when he interviewed Epstein, and he was trying to basically rehabilitate his image and stuff like that. And he spent a lot of time with Epstein, and they became buddies in around 2016, and to the point where Steve Bannon, Trump's Steve Bannon, that guy, the guy who was pardoned, went to all that, stole $500 million from the wall scam. Anyway, that guy, he became buddies with Epstein to the point where Epstein gave him full use of his Paris apartment with access to all of the luxuries, the cars, the money, the banking, everything he needed, he had access to. And that's where Bannon says he has over 16 hours of unreleased footage directly from his interviews, conversations, sounds like hanging out with Epstein and collecting evidence, but from the vaults and stuff like that. There's a new interview with Mark Wolf and about Jeff Epstein and the interviews and stuff with Epstein about Trump, and all of these things are going to lead to people spilling what they know and giving up the evidence that they have. His protections are down. The MAGA people that used to defend him to the core are actually getting offended by this. So now they're trying to control the narrative. They're trying to say it was a setup by the Bidens. It was all fake news, a whole setup. It's same shit, different diaper. The bottom line is, hopefully MAGA's knowing better. It seems like they've learned, like they're actually being pushed over the edge. The additional pain that's going to come from the other lies that can no longer be hidden, like the loss of Medicare, the loss of benefits, tariffs actually having a problem with things, people losing all of that stuff that people can't argue with anymore, are forcing issues to come to light. All the investigations behind the scenes, the Election Truth Alliance, the smart elections, all of that information that an entire district in Ramapo up in Rockland County, New York, had 554 votes for Trump, and 76% or something of the entire voting population in this little town was all Democrat, and not one person voted for Kamala Harris, but voted for the Democrats. So little things like that are coming out too. So the truth will always come out eventually. You just have to be open-minded enough to see it, recognize it, research it, make sure it's real, and share it so everyone else gets it too. That is our job. That is our purpose through this circus of bullshit brought to us by the con version of the Trump show. Sorry, that's redundant. We all need to stay diligent. We all need to stay educated. We need to be kind because we all are in this together. And people are slowly learning their lessons. We need to welcome them back to reality, or to reality for the first time.